Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. Preparedness means being able to live and live as well as you can in any kind of environment. And one of the environments that many people find themselves living in is one of oppression. It's not just all about being able to survive in the woods or out in the desert or an economic crash or something like that. The ones that I put up yesterday were about living under oppression, the things that are coming. And there are a number of groups around the world that have done very well, have learned as a result of their experience how to function and function well under an oppressive, should I say, an oppressive environment. One of those is organized crime, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give you a few thoughts here, a few tips, as it were. I'll probably title this Mafia Tips for Preparedness. Mafia, in that sense, is used improperly, but it's just the way that people think of it now, and it's easy. It's easy for everybody to understand, so that's the way I'll do it. Before we get started on this, I want to remind you that this and all of my videos are brought to you by my books, the Stonemont series, The Reversion, the Revival, the Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, the Blessings of Freedom, and Hostages to Fortune. 6 novels in serial form that I call the complete guide to preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding after a total collapse of everything. You can get them through Amazon if you'd like, and that link is down below. Or you can get them directly from me, and I love it when you do that because then I get to sign it for you and write a little note in there. And you can do that through the Stonemont website at stonemont.us. That link is also down below. The date for the Stonemont and Integrative Preparedness Gathering has been set. It's in July 13th coming up. Information on that is on the Patreon site. And you can also get information. You can register for it. There's no cost. We just like to have people register so we know how many people are coming. It's going to be in the Kansas City area, July 13th. You can register for it and get a little bit more information on the stonemont.us website. Okay, and now that we've got the housekeeping done, some tips. The world is becoming more oppressive. We see what's happening. I put up on yesterday's something about the United Nations new project for the future, or whatever they call it. I talked about the dystopian messages that are being continually introduced to our students in their schools, just like they were when we were younger with 1984 and Animal Farm and all of those, and they continue to be, and I find that very interesting. Oppression is experienced by pretty much everyone, to one degree or another. And anytime you find oppression, the reason that I'm using organized crime here as an example, anytime you find oppression, you will find organized crime. Oppression is the soil in which organized crime grows, and the lessons that they learn as a result are important to pass on. And if you wonder what I mean by that, it's not just what people think of as the mafia, but think about concentration camps. How did the people survive in concentration camps? Was it by doing everything they were told and never doing anything that they weren't? Or did they have ways to scavenge? And did they have ways to work a little bit under the table and get more food or protect themselves in certain ways? Of course, and those are the stories of the great heroics that we follow, right? Whether it's whether it's Schindler's List or the book that everybody read in high school, Anne Frank, whatever it is. When people are under oppression, they're going to find ways to survive. And it's one thing if you're in a camp. It's another thing when you're living out in society. And nobody does it better or did it better. It's changed over the years now. But the lessons are still there. Nobody did it better than organized crime in the United States and elsewhere. But we're talking about the United States. Until things started falling apart as a result of getting away from some of the basic principles that I'm going to share with you right now, and where money became the center of everything, and many other things that actually I addressed this in much more detail in a video that I already put up on the Patreon channel. So I go deeper into the aspects of organized crime, how that applies to preparedness on the one I put on prepared on the Patreon channel. And if you're not familiar with me, I worked organized crime in law enforcement for quite a while, and not just I don't just have experience from that standpoint, but I knew a lot of the guys for years, all my life, and so I'll just leave it at that, okay? But I want to give you these lessons here, just some thoughts, okay, and just some tips. And I didn't put it down in any particular order. I sat down in my chair and just jotted a few down, and I can probably come up with 50 more, but these are the ones that if you get these settled in your head, you're going to be in a good start. Because realize, if you're living under an oppressive regime, you have choices to make, okay? Okay. Number one, family is first. Family is first. It comes into number two, and that is you are responsible for taking care of yourself and everyone who depends on you. Now, I know that there's family and there's family, right? Okay. Just like we saw in the movie The Godfather, you had a lot of different people involved there, right? A lot of different personalities. Now, I have to say that in the families that I have known, the organized crime families that I have known, it was not that whacked out. Okay, that usually the mother and father of the family, mainly the father, but with mother's support, they usually had a much more cohesive, loyal group in the family, meaning the parents and the children. And there was great loyalty there, great loyalty between the siblings and out into cousins as well. Those of you who are familiar with that lifestyle know exactly what I'm talking about when I say cousins. What was depicted, even though The Godfather 1 and 2 were probably the only two really good Mafia movies out there. The rest are trash. I know a lot of people like them, but they're trash. It's movie. Okay, people think they watch those. They think they know about the Mafia. They don't. But the way, and for the most part, those movies were good. But the way that Don Corleone's family was portrayed was horrible, horrible. I cannot imagine a father's family being like that at all. So that was too bad. I don't know what made them do that. I know it wasn't just Coppola; it was Puzo too. But I don't. Maybe some are, but back in that day, it was not so much. Okay, so family is first, but you do have to understand the different personalities in the family. Different people are going to have different strengths. Different people are going to have different desires. Some are going to be gung ho with the program of let's do what we have to for the family, and others are going to be more rule followers. Although, in a well developed family, that's not going to be as disparate as you see in The Godfather. So, family is first. You are responsible for taking care of yourself and those who depend on you. Nobody else is responsible for that. Do not trust or rely on the government for anything. Anything. The lessons that came down through the Mafia was they had centuries of experience living under corrupt government. This is one of the reasons that they developed the system. Don't trust or rely on the government for anything ever. Help people. Help people. It's the right thing to do. And if you help others, they might help you. This goes into something, I think I wrote it down farther in the list, I don't know. Favors are investments. It doesn't mean that you do a favor in order to get a favor back. Okay. Text from my son. It doesn't mean you do a favor so that they will give you a favor back. If you're doing it like that, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You do a favor because it's the right thing to do. The right kind of people will remember it, and then they will return a favor whenever you need it. Here's something else that was misunderstood in The Godfather. I've talked about this a few times, that the people that came to The Godfather, just take for instance the funeral guy, okay, the undertaker. He came asking for a favor, and Don Corleone did it. Okay. And he said, maybe someday I might come to you for a favor. Well, a lot of people have this idea, oh boy, if you do a favor for them and then or if they do a favor for you, you're in their debt. Well, kind of, but no more than any friend. It's not like if Don Corleone had asked the Undertaker for a favor and the Undertaker refused to do it. It's not like, Corleone would have had him whacked. It's just he would have withdrawn his support from him, and the guy would have gone broke. That's kind of how it is. If you don't return a favor, you're kind of scum, okay? And everybody's going to know it, and you will have punished yourself. Essentially, that's it. So help people. It's the right thing to do, and it's a favor, and favors are investments in the future. The good people will return them. The people who don't return them, you don't want them in your life anyway. Okay, but that has nothing to do with the fact that you should do what you can when you can help. 5, have multiple and diverse streams of income. Okay, this is very important. It's the old don't put your eggs in one basket. Multiple streams of income. I talked about this on the one that I put up on Patreon. As they show in the movies The Godfather, Don Corleone had great many streams of income. He was based on Joe Bonanno. Bonanno had many streams of income, but not many different streams, but they were diverse. They weren't all in the same thing. Okay, you don't want to be just your own provider in one line of supply. You want to have a business in one area, maybe a construction business or whatever. Then you want to have a business that's totally separate from that, maybe a restaurant, okay, or a bar or this, or whatever it is. Multiple streams of income and diverse streams of income. Because if you're not, you're at the mercy of whatever happens in your particular field. You could lose your job. You could lose big accounts in one area, and it could destroy you. And we've seen a lot of that happen to a lot of people during COVID. If it didn't happen to me because I had a lot of different streams of income. Okay, I lost my job at the hospital. Well, I could have kept my job if I wanted to take the poke. I said, no, I'm not taking it. They couldn't believe that I wouldn't take it to save my job. It was a great job. Kelly and I both worked there. We made good money. It was great. But we wouldn't take the poke. They thought they had us over a barrel. They thought that we'd take it in order to save our jobs. We said no. What they didn't know is that I had money coming in from all sorts of different things. Simple as that. Okay? And nobody needs to know. It's your business, right? Multiple streams, diverse streams. If you don't have multiple streams, if they're not diverse, you have put your future in somebody else's hands. And why would you do that? It's a dumb thing to do. Okay, be a friend, and you will have a friend. That's the first thing. Be a friend first. This goes back to favors. It's one of those things. If you want a friend, be a friend. It's exactly right. Be a friend. You will find that most of the people in that life are the friendliest people. Not all of them. I mean, there are some real hardcores, and there are some really unfriendly people. And yes, I understand. They're just people, but most of them, they have businesses. Okay. Organized crime doesn't make all their money going around doing crimes. That's what people don't understand. They are called organized crime because some of the things they do are illegal. Okay, that's right. But most of them have businesses. They might have construction businesses. They might have restaurants. They might have bars. They might have cleaning companies. They might have waste management, whatever it is. They deal with people, and they know because they understand the first And second rule, you are responsible for taking care of yourself. They know that being friendly means more business, and more business means more affluence. More affluence means they can take better care of themselves and those who depend on them, right? Okay. People do business with people they like. That's one of the main lessons of business. People do business with people they like and with people that they think they know. If you want more business, be a friend, be friendly, be outgoing. And I know that's something that a lot of people in the preparedness world they're not about that. That's too bad. They're kind of reclusive, kind of introverted and stuff like that. You know, you won't get everything that you could if you were a little more outgoing. Okay, even though you're a friend, understand that people can be weak and may betray you. Okay? You may be a friend. Somebody might turn around that you thought were a friend and, act in an unfriendly way. Okay. You have to understand that. Just because somebody's your friend doesn't mean, you're all lovey-dovey. There's an old line in the poem If by Kipling. It says, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. Okay? Except for your family. Realize that people are people. You want to be the best you can be, but don't expect too much of other people. Good if they give everything that they should. Good, it's a nice surprise, right? But if they don't, then it's not going to destroy you because you haven't put everything out there. And this comes into something, the next one, that is keep your business to yourself. Don't share everything that you do. Matter of fact, share very little. People need to know what they need to know. The old compartmentalism. You can be great friends with people, and they will simply know the parts of you that you want them to. You don't need to be spilling your guts about everything that you think, everything that you do, everything that whatever, And I think that most people in preparedness are pretty attuned to this, and some too much actually, But just keep your business to yourself. And then people won't be able to. If somebody was going to turn on you, they're not going to know everything in the world about you. They're not going to be able to hurt you. What you're doing is you're mitigating damage that somebody could do in the future. You just never know, right? And you can still have a nice time with people. Okay. And while you're keeping your business to yourself, don't interfere in other people's business. Their business is their business, just like your business is your business. One of the big sayings back in the day when I was on the streets was not living on the streets. When I was running the streets, I was never living on the streets. Was if somebody asked, nobody asked questions. That's funny. Nobody asked questions, and you could be with a group of people all night long. Nobody would ask a question. Because you ask a question, and that's like, unless it's of interest. Hey, how are your kids? How's your wife? How's everything? How's everything going with you? That's the kind of question. But questions that are like, where are you going, or who are you going to see? Something like, hey, none of your business. If somebody asked a question that was wanting to it sounded like they wanted to know what somebody was up to or doing. Everything would stop. And it was like, what? Why do you want to know that? The old saying was, what are you writing a book? And that pretty much shut down the newcomer. Experienced guys never would do that, but new guys always. They had to be taught, right? Everybody had to be taught. You writing a book? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get in your business. Okay, that's right. Be loyal. Be loyal. If you're loyal, people will learn that you are. They'll realize it. That's a very important reputation to have. But understand that others may not be. This gets back to the old don't share everything, be a friend, but don't share everything. Be loyal. You will have the reputation. First off, you won't be questioned after a while. And secondly, people won't want to betray a loyal person. The reason that Sammy the Bull turned on Gotti is because he found out that Gotti was breaking down on him. If Gotti had not tried to flip on Sammy, Sammy never would have turned on Gotti. If a person has a reputation for being loyal, it greatly reduces the chance that anybody is going to be disloyal to them. It could happen. Okay, but the thing is, that's why you don't share everything, right? That's why you keep things compartmentalized. Favors are investments. This gets back to doing things to help people if you can. You don't do them as an investment, but understand the more things you do for people, the more favors you do for people. Even without expecting anything in return. These are investments. They pay off down the road. They pay off in all number of ways. They pay off in reputation. They pay off in case you need something from them. Could be a good price on tires. Okay? Doesn't matter. And the last that I wrote down here, and this is something that a lot of preppers need to understand, that money buys influence. Not only does money buy stuff, it can buy influence. And I'll probably get into that in more depth on the Patreon channel. And in many ways, we're talking political influence here. Okay. And I know a lot of preppers aren't involved in this. They should be. You should be. You're avoiding this at your detriment, but because influence is power. And if whatever you don't have power over in your life, something has power over you. And if you are able to influence the world around you, let me put it this way, to the extent you are able to influence the world around you, the world cannot influence you. You want to run your life. You don't want life running you, right? I said this in the other one. And so money is an important tool. It's a vital tool. A vital tool. And this gets back to having multiple streams of income and diverse streams of income. The more diverse, the more people you meet. The more different kinds of people you meet, the more money you make, the more you're able to help people, the more people you're able to hire to do jobs. Okay, and then you have influence over them. And by that, I'm not talking about undue influence. I'm not saying, okay, I give you a job, so I want you to vote for this guy. I'm saying, hey, you're nice to people. You give people work. You give people a job. And when an election comes up, and you say, hey, who are you thinking about voting for? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Haven't thought about, don't know much about him. And you can say, well, this guy's a real good guy. I know him. Or this guy, I like the way he believes. And this other guy, this is kind of what he believes. And the guy, oh, I didn't know that. Well, I think I'll vote for this guy. You see, if more people did that, this world wouldn't be in the mess that it's in. But too many people won't do this. They won't put themselves out there. They won't participate in the political process because they don't believe in it. But they don't believe in it because they've never worked in it. Okay, they don't understand how things work, and that's kind of how you have to tune yourself up to realize that. Okay, so money buys influence, and influence buys power, and that can help you when it comes to a living under an authoritarian regime. Where do you want the power? You want all the power above you to trump on you, to keep its boot on your head? Or do you want some yourself to be able to influence the world around you for your own benefit, for the benefit of your family, for the benefit of your friends and anybody else that depends on you? So things to keep in mind. Those are the top 12. I'm sure I could think of a whole bunch more. Maybe one of these days I will remember. And this is the way that I like to influence people, by teaching them. The Stonemont series, 6 books full of survival and preparedness lessons, all wrapped up into a great story that you'll love. Thousands of people around the world have loved it since 2017 and learned a great deal from it. Remember that you can get them either through Amazon, link down below, or directly from me at our website, stonemont.us, in which case I get to sign them for you and write a little note in them for you, and I love doing that. So all those links are down below. If you're not with us on Patreon, I wish you were. We'd love to have you over there. We do a lot more over there, plus all the information for the Stonemont Integrative Preparedness Get-Together is going to be over there. So join us, and that link is also down below. Only cost you $1 a month, and it'll be worth it. You'll like it. You all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And those 12 things that I just rattled off will serve you well. Okay? You all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.